Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Precious Metal Summit Europe, and this is my 17th interview today, and we are not tired, definitely, because now we talk about Velocity Minerals, and we have Keith Henderson here, the CEO of the company, who wants to give us an update, of course. Keith, how are you? Great to see you.
Very well, thank you, Jochen. Good to see you again.
Super, perfect. Yeah, Velocity Minerals, we have interviewed you several times, I think, through Jessica's and you are working in Bulgaria. So what was the most important thing this year, or the most important parts you have achieved?
Two things are important for us this year. We keep drilling as usual. We keep putting out news releases every 2 to 3 weeks with drill results on multiple projects. But the most significant real milestone for us was the pre-feasibility study on the Rosno project. We've been operating in Bulgaria for about 3 years now. So Rosno is the first project that we began working on. It's the most advanced in terms of the technical studies that we've done. And it was really nice to reach that pre-feasibility study milestone just a few months ago, actually a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think it was done at $1,500 gold. And you got a 27.4% after-tax yield, which is very nice after-tax, I would call it. And AIC of $755. Let's round it to 800. This is also fantastic.
Yeah.
And what would be the sensitivity on today's gold prices, let's say, if we do $1,800 or $1,900?
We looked at a 25 increase to gold price, so $1,875 gold gets you to, I think it's about 46.5% IRR after tax. So it is a very significant impact, obviously.
Okay, super. So what are the next steps here after the pre-feasibility study?
Well, now we know that Rosno works as a standalone project, but we always think of Rosno within our greater model, and our model is a hub and spoke development model. So what we have is access to an operating and existing CIL plant, which is a huge strategic advantage for us as a company. Then we have Rosno as our most advanced individual deposit, but within the area that we're working, we've got many deposits and several that we're actively drilling. So we want to move all of these projects forward. Like Rosno, as a standalone, contributes, let's say 58 to 60,000 ounces per year of production coming out of the central plant. That accounts for about 1/4 of the capacity of the CIL plant. So theoretically, we can get from there to over 200,000 ounces per year, as long as we can actually manage to discover and define significant amounts of other resources at other projects in the surrounding area. And that's mostly what we're spending time looking at. So fantastic. We're looking at two things in particular. One, we're looking at targets that are located in the immediate area of Rosno. So things that are, let's say, within 5 kilometers of Rosno. The reason we're looking at those kind of targets is if we can discover something there, chances are we'll be able to ship run-of-mine material from an open pit there all the way back to the infrastructure that we're planning to build at Rosno. And those would logically all work together. So by doing so, we'd be making very low capital additions to the Rosno story in general. Stepping out from there a little bit, there are other projects that are not so close to Rosno, but which would be standalone components within the hub and spoke model. So I'm speaking about projects like Abichnik, Makedonci, and the new one that we acquired this year called Iglika. And all of those are at various stages of exploration as well, and moving their way towards us defining resources on those projects.
Great. Super. And I saw also that you have a existing processing plant for 200,000 ounces per annum, which is quite a lot. But this is owned by your partner, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's owned by our partner. So when we started working in Bulgaria 3 years ago, we made a partnership with Gurubsu Kırgılı, which is a private Bulgarian mining company, which has got their own processing facility. And they also had a number of projects that needed exploration. So by partnering with Gurubsu, we were able to get access to that plant, which is the strategic advantage that we have. But it also allowed us to basically start exploring on projects immediately without having to go through the process of acquiring projects. So we've been able to keep exploring those projects, in each case earning a 70% interest. So at Rosno, about almost a year and a half ago, we earned a 70% interest. And that's been a 70-30 joint venture with our partner ever since. At other projects like Abichnik, we're in the process of earning a 70% interest, and we hope to get there kind of around the end of this year or early next year.
Okay, super. So when can we expect then, let's say, first production? What is the game plan for that? Because you must have a plan. Now it's pre-feasibility. And what is the plan to be in production?
Yeah, you always ask the easy questions, Jochen. I like you for that. It's a matter of overall strategy. Like Rosno as a standalone we could start moving towards production right now, but we think that it's better to get about 6 to 9 months of exploration under our belt before we really get into the feasibility study, so that we can understand what kind of resources in the immediate area will be able to feed into that feasibility study. But we're most likely going to start that feasibility study around Q2, Q3 next year. We'll feed our permitting process in alongside that. We're very advanced on the permitting side because we've been collecting baseline data for 3 years. We've been in communication with stakeholders and communities for a very long time. So, theoretically, you're getting into around mid to the end of 2023. You'd be fully in production, would be our expectation. And if we rushed it right now, we could have a mining concession as early as November or December 2021. But the key thing for us is to understand exactly what the scale of this project is and how all the components are going to fit together before we pull the trigger on those things.
Yeah, which makes really sense, of course. And so that means from the permitting side, you are not facing any, let's say, hurdles or trouble. Everything is in good standing. Also with, let's say, communities, with the people living there, with the state and all that kind of things.
Yeah, everything's good so far. Like we work in the mining industry. We expect at some point in our lives to meet someone in the community or a group of people who don't necessarily like what we're doing. And that's an expectation that we can all have. But so far things have been going very well. We've been communicating we're within the municipality called Ivalovgrad, which is a very entrepreneurial municipality it's led by a mayor who has just won her 3rd term. She's a very popular leader in the area. And she's a very great supporter of what we're doing. And, the municipality of Ivalovgrad only has to look 20 kilometers west of Rosno to see what Dundee Precious Metals have been doing in Krumovgrad. And they've seen many, many jobs go through that town during the construction period. They've seen a lot of jobs stay in that town during the production phase, which started about a year. And it makes what we're doing look a lot easier for us now.
Okay. Question about the environmental care, I would call it. I'm not talking only about ESG, but what we saw in the last months is when we brought up videos, let's say from Kazakhstan or even Bulgaria, Romania, etc., we always got a lot of comments at YouTube that, let's say, the environmental care is not there. The mining companies are not paying attention. They are polluting the the environment. I really could not believe that, because I think Bulgaria is a European Union, so you have to comply to European standards. And that's very simple. You cannot pollute the environment, right?
Yeah, the European standards of the hurdles that we need to meet in order to permit this project are I'm based in Canada. For me, the standards are the same or higher than they are in Canada. Beyond what Bulgaria might stipulate, we need to live up to more international standards as well. Like for a company like us, if we want to finance a project like this in the future, we're going to have to speak to groups who will be looking directly at the Equator Principles and will be looking at all of those things. So I think it's simply not true to say that mining companies are operating in this way in this day and age. It's really not true. We're operating much more carefully, but some projects have advantages and some projects have disadvantages, and some projects unfortunately become the poster child for anti-mining. But the reality for Rosno is that it's got certain built-in advantages that make our process a little bit easier. And we've got less than 1% sulfide in our ore. When we process that ore on site and we do our flotation, we recover most of that sulfide. So the rocks that we're leaving behind, firstly, are not acid generating. They are almost completely benign. Like we're leaving rocks behind that are in some ways cleaner than they were in the first place. So we anticipate that the particular scope of the Rosno project will really help us to get it permitted. And the way that we're going about designing it, we've really worked hard to make this a very, very small mine footprint. We've made the mine as small as it could possibly be in the context of what we're trying to do. And I think it's a wonderful design.
Super, perfect. Last question. How much money do you need for the feasibility study, let's say, until you come to the project finance? And do you have the money already in the bank, or do you need still to raise some money?
The most important thing for us is to be able to get to the end of 2021 and to have done enough drilling in the area surrounding Rosno and on our other projects to have thoroughly tested them and to have visibility on the number of ounces that might actually be there and how all of these different projects will fit together. Our plan is ambitious. This year we're going to drill something of the order of 25,000 meters. That's going to be the most we've ever drilled in a year. For next year, we're hoping to drill a minimum of 40,000 meters, possibly more. So we're really, really hitting these projects really hard, and we want to get to the answers. In terms of finance, we do have money in the bank right now. We're operating as normal, but like all exploration companies, we're spending money and we'll need to raise money. So as we start to look at Q1 next year, we'll need to top up, as one might expect.
Okay, super. So quite busy. 2021 is very busy, and we expect a lot of news flow then from you.
Yes, as always.
Super, fantastic. Keith, thank you very much. Time is over, and wish you all the best. Stay healthy. That's the most important thing these days. And we look forward to a good news flow.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Talk to you. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Velocity Minerals, Keith Henderson, the CEO for Precious Metal Summit Europe. And you heard it. The company is full on track. Everything is going well and nice. And the pre-feasibility study for Rosno was already very, very favorable. It was done at $1,500 gold. This is very conservative cushion, I would call it. And I mean, Keith and myself, we are both bullish for gold. We see both probably it way up at $2,000 plus, so that would be great for the project, and it's not too far away from production, so we like that a lot. The drills are turning. Stay tuned for the company. Check it out. Thanks for watching us, and bye bye from Switzerland.